For a little bit more on this, we're now joined by Prince of Onkweni, His Royal Highness Prince Africa Zulu. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right. Give us some context of, yes, it's something that's commemorated and celebrated today. How significant was this battle in what was going on at the time back in 1879?
The Isandlwana battle was quite a significant battle because it changed the whole fate of the Zulu nation. 1879, on the 22nd, the battle was on, and the Zulus were able to push and fend away the British, which was the instruction of King Misuzulu that once they run away, don't try to chase them. You must defend. So our victory was on the 22nd. Then shortly afterwards, obviously, because there was a British colony already existing in South Africa, in Natal. Natal was a British colony from 1843. They then mobilized a lot of our own people, the Sotho people, to all the surrounding areas, Mangwaneni, the Makunwini area, because they convinced the Makunwini people that, the Zulus, King Shaka had killed Makunwane, who is your sort of your own chief or king. So you must come in revenge. So 7 months later, the British came back, and that's where King Misuzulu was captured at Gingindlovu by Colonel Lieutenant Freer, whom he took him through a Natal ship through the Eskawini beach, and he was taken to Cape Town and stayed there at the castle. And that was when he stayed there until 12th July, when through the help of the Colonel family, King Misuzulu was then able to go to England to plead his case. On the trip, he arrived on the 5th of August, and that's where he arrived at Plymouth Sound. And then later he was ushered to the King's Palace, which is Isley Wright Palace, where he met Queen Victoria and then pleaded his case, and later met Lord Kimberley. So the Isandlwana is very, very, very significant in the Zulu nation, because after the Battle of Isandlwana, the Zulus lost a lot of control over their land, of their normal lives, because now there was a new authority. Because in England, when King Misuzulu got there, Kimberley made it clear to him that we are going to let you go back to Zululand, but we've got some few terms that you must abide by in order to return to Zululand. You must know that when you go back, you're no longer the authority there. You now must report to the Queen. We're going to get you an advisor who's a resident, who is a local resident, who's going to advise you properly how to behave as now one of the chiefs, who must then sign the declaration. There's a special declaration that King Misuzulu was forced to sign, which made him surrender as one of the 13 chiefs of Zululand. Then they also asked him that he must reconcile with John Donne, of which he found it very hard, because John Donne had sold him out in the eve of the battle when Chelmsford confronted him. Because John Donne already was a very close confidant and close friend of Misuzulu. He had given land at Mangete and 47 wives, and including his own sister. So His Majesty had felt a serious betrayal by this man, John Donne. So the Zulus' victory, even though it was one day, but because it was so strong, because King Misuzulu wanted the battle to last only one day. So all the warriors, the regiments from Udlogo, where the commander of the overall battle in Chingwayo, of course, was picked. He was picked from Udlobo. He was just an ordinary old man member of Udlobo. He was also picked from there to go and fight. King Tejwa said, I want all the warriors to be there. And he went to Makosini and he spoke to the ancestors and said, we, the Southern Hemisphere is at the threat. We are under attack. We have an invasion. Then there was a following looting when they captured the king. When they captured the king, then they started looting, and invading Zulu more. They had already taken a lot of land. When King Tejwa got to England, they were insisting that part of the thing is that King Tejwa must let go of more land so that the Natal project could be a bigger project. The Natal project was the colony of the British Empire. So they were more eager to build the British Empire and cut on Zululand. And part of also the demand they made to him, they told him that if people in Zululand don't want to stay and under your rule and your control, you must now not touch them or try them. What you must do, you must let them go to stay in Port Natal in our areas. So now King Tejwa was now conflicted that he had a British colony of the Queen now under his rule. He was told to disband his army, that only the Queen can have an army. And then he pleaded with them that, can I keep a portion of the army? I cannot rule without the army. They said, but you must keep it very, very little. So when the king, the victory of the January, people never really pay attention that it really brought more trouble for us. The Lobola came in, Shepstein, later the mining. There was a lot of changes on the Zulu people life that as a result, economical changes, as a result of this Battle of Isandlwana. Yes, we won on the 22nd of January, but that victory was short-lived because when King Tejwa got captured, they then forced all the Zulu aristocrats who are representing the nation to go put their cross and sign a peace treaty. And they themselves, they had broken a Geneva Convention because they are the European, they've been fighting over European survival. But they were even killing people, even when they were already shot and bleeding. They were killing them like flies. They had no respect. But those are the challenges that the Zulus. So as we commemorate this battle, we look back to the reality that it was a black on black. The British was just waiting to finish the battle. It was just, they made sure that the other black people were at the forefront. And some of them, they came from the Zulu royal family. People like Mkhungu Kampande, well, they were also part of the people who joined against the King Tejwa.
It sounds very much like what happened leading up to this battle and what happened afterwards was a carbon copy of the colonial project all over the world. Canada will tell you this was the same story. And I think, if I remember correctly, that King Tejwa wanted to negotiate before Isandlwana, but the ultimatum he was given, he could not possibly have accepted. And the British knew that. And so what they actually wanted was war and a complete takeover going in. But I suppose on the day, when you're up against 7-pounder guns and rifles, the bravery of the soldiers is really what needs to be remembered, because they were really up against it.
No, that is very true. His Majesty King Tejwa wanted peace with the British, not just with the British. He wanted peace with all the people who are in this world. He understood the diplomacy, that you cannot be a king and fighting your neighbors and your fellow brothers. He had offered a lot of cattle, which the British were not interested, because all they wanted to seize the moment and dethrone His Majesty, and then so that the British colony can expand. They there was already a commission that took a lot of land from His Majesty. It was a commission of 1878. And His Majesty pleaded with Lord Kimberley in London on the meeting, which was held on the 7th of August, 1882. And he said, you already have taken everything. I'm already ruling a very small area. Then they said, no, don't take it personal. Don't take this thing as if the British doesn't love you as his son. You must just understand that, we are just trying to manage this situation, So there was never really a fair way of doing things. And what he said is that even when we take over the country, we did not change Natal on our province, because even though they try to argue that Natal means the period of rebirth, what. Natal was a name that was given to the province, to the state of KwaZulu, when they cut down and they trim down the KwaZulu power and make sure that it is a colony of Natal. And those people were receiving very, very better treatment. You could not even charge them or maybe rule them with any sort of Zulu justice.
Your Royal Highness, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much indeed for giving us a valuable reflection on the importance of this day and what it meant for the Zulu people and people of South Africa going forward after the battle. Thank you so much indeed for your time this evening.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Siyabonga. All right, so that was Prince Onkweni, who's His Royal Highness Prince Africa Zulu, speaking to us about the Battle of Isandlwana. He says that whilst we celebrate this day in its significance, it really did mark the beginning of a very dark period and a dark time for the Zulu nation, and I dare say South Africans in general, because a lot of what started then carried on for decades.